Hello, welcome to another episode of Shirley Reads. I know this is an autumn season, but unfortunately, I didn't read any spooky novels, but I read psychological fiction, The Vegetarian, and a historical fiction, Babel. Today, I'm gonna review about The Vegetarian. The Vegetarian is a psychological fiction written by Korean author Kang in 2007. Later, this was translated to English in 2015, and the next year it won Man Booker International Prize in 2016. Booker Prize is the reason I picked this one. The story is set in Korea, and our protagonist's name is Yeong-hye. Sorry if I mispronounce any names. Mr. Cheong hasn't been attracted to his wife Yeong-hye neither physically nor mentally, but he found no reasons to marry her, so he got married to her. Yeong-hye keeps her feelings to herself and hides them from others. She is such a passive personality. She never makes a fuss if he is late to home. She reads all the time. It's basically a boring life for him. Chiang is a normal person who has settled for a decent monthly salary. So he got married to a working class woman like Ingi. Ingi is typical Asian woman who prepares food for her husband, does his laundry, hands him all the things he needs, sends him off to work. Mr. Chiang just wakes up, takes bath and eats the breakfast she cooks and leaves to the office. That's the heaven life for Mr. Chiang. I think she might have expected him to obey the husband and wife domestic rules. When it did not happen, she became taciturn and held her ground. It's very obvious that they have differences of opinion. Ingi has two siblings, sister Ini and brother Ingho. I'm really sorry for all the mispronunciation of names. And Ini runs cosmetic stores and household. She is grateful for such huge responsibilities without any complaints. She makes life for herself independently since teenage. She takes good care of her sister. She is the best and bravest to conquer any situation. She is understanding and considerate. She has a life to endure then to enjoy our love. Her husband is a video artist and they have a 5-year-old son. Her husband is a devotee more than a lover because he usually says, I don't deserve you. She is good in nature. Her goodness is oppressive here. He does not have anything to share with her husband, and neither does he. The one thing they share is their child. Though he is not contributing anything to lead their life, he is not being restricted in his art making by any. She has given full freedom in his art making. He learned that his sister-in-law Ingi has Mongolian mark on her buttocks from his wife. Suddenly he got a flash of inspiration, a blue flower on women's buttocks. A man wrapped her, both are covered with painted flowers. It was like he was in a dark place, a monochrome world devoid of colors. Suddenly his world is blooming with beautiful flowers. Ingi was not an attractive person to him until that moment. Now he started seeing her with different motive. She is considered an object of desire and every unattractiveness in her seemed to induce him. He is really cheesy. He wanted to paint this in real life but he realized no woman would agree to this, including his sister in law. So he is holding back from showing his sketches to anyone. So far, I have given you little bit background on the story. Now, the current story is Ingi has a weird dream that she has eaten living bird. The blood is on her mouth dripping. Okay, this is spooky. I have read a spooky novel. So the next morning, Chiang sees that she is putting all the meat, like a beef, pork, pieces of chicken, from the fridge into the trash bag. He asks why she is chucking out all the meat. She just plainly says she had a dream. She doesn't say anything further. She is taciturn. He loses his temper and he usually replies on behalf of her what he perceives from her actions. In the evening, he smokes to see all the vegetarian dishes on the table and asks for egg fried rice. She says she has thrown the eggs and milk too, and he eats only breakfast at home and he usually have lunch and dinner with meat outside. It's not that he will die without meat for one meal. He is highly surprised at how she validates her selfish behavior. He doesn't make any effort to make up with her. Rather, he starts thinking her as a maid from whom no bad consequences can come because of this. Ingi became vegetarian, which impacted her husband Chiang and brother-in-law and sister Ini's already messed up lives. The chain reaction of events in her life have manifested involuntary difficulties in their life and the story dives into their perspectives. So, this book has three parts: the husband Chiang's perspective, the vegetarian brother in law Mongolian Mark, and sister In-hye's perspective, flaming trees. Usually, when someone changes their diet to vegetarian, they will receive taunting commands. In-hye is also in the same situation, but she doesn't care. Cheong doesn't want to be embarrassed, so he says she suffered from gastroenteritis, so she had to give up meat. I was like, someone please knock some sense into the husbands of this book. They have no understanding of their wives. Chiang couldn't tolerate her behavior, so he complains to her mother and sister. Chiang and Ingi are invited to her sister Ingi's home. Ingi's father and mother are also invited. Ingi's father served in military. He is patriarchal. The word sorry will not slip from his tongue. They all start to question her change in diet and they rebuke as she looks thin. Later, everyone starts pushing her to eat meat. Ingi is literally an oyster addict. When all her family members force her to eat her favorite oyster, she doesn't even apologetic. Rather, she says she doesn't eat meat. It was emotional, but our beloved Ingi did not move a muscle. Reading it, I understood they were quite forceful parents. Ingi's father slaps her and pushes the meat into her mouth. This kind of authoritarian parenting style has its roots in Asia. When Ingi is forced to eat, no one prevents her father. Everyone wants her to eat a meat. Suddenly, she spits the meat, manages to grab the knife, cuts her wrist. That's when Ingi's husband picks her up and takes her to the hospital. He genuinely wants her to survive. I'm not sure, maybe for his art? It is evident she created aversion towards meat, but still her mother forces her to eat meat even at the hospital when she is a patient. Can I say they are monstrous? I mean, okay, they are not observant. Even her husband doesn't seem to understand her at all. Ingi starts having a dream again. She feels this lump all the time. It hurts her chest. The blood and flesh of the animal she consumes scattered all over her body. Since she changed to vegetarianism, all the physical remnants of the animals were discharged. But she thinks their lives are still sticking to her insides. To get rid of this, she could do only one thing. Now Ingi is suffering from schizophrenia and she is refusing to eat meat. She is not lucid. So the doctors are unable to find why she is refusing to eat meat. Can any of these three people try to find a reason that contributed to Ingi's disorder? For reading vegetarian, I literally presume it would only be like not eating animals. A single sentence from this book never talked about killing animals is wrong. This is the first ever psychological book that created greatest discomfort, emotionally and mentally. A kind of book that could assess the deep level of human thoughts. Reading the psychiatric details were disturbing up to the bone, like throwing oneself in front of the oncoming train, stabbing oneself in the eyes with chopstick, how the vomit looked, and how the blood was splattered. It was all repulsive. That could be the reason the readers can DNF or not pick this. It is definitely not a page turner, but I can suggest you to suck up and read the first 30 pages, and you may feel that you are gonna finish a short novel and you may further advance. I don't have any favorite characters from this book. So, because usually favorite characters are outstandingly good or bad, here everyone is real. So Asians, no sugar coated, according to me. I watched Arthur's interview. She said that she doesn't write her books with readers in mind. That's impressive. That's why it is raw. I never had any happy moments reading this book. Believe me, books can also be like this. No wonder it won Man Booker Prize. There are three messages I found from this book. The first is though vegetarian diet is not widely considered natural but preposterous at the moment, this vegetarian implies respect others' preferences. The second part, Mongolian Mark, is moving fast compared to the other two parts. Here, the message is a woman's body is aroused only if her feelings play along with her body. Otherwise, it is just a flesh. The third takeaway of this book is for parents, like how children's tranquility of life can change in an unimaginative way because of parenting. I think the translation could have been better. I don't know why I felt that way. Often I felt the continuation was missing, or I could be wrong. I should probably read other novels by Kang. I think this is it. Hope you like my review of The Vegetarian. If so, please give me thumbs up on this video. Thank you for staying with me. I will see you in another book review. Until then,